well, I didn't think it would actually happen. Tom Thibodeau was fired, relieved of his duties, shown the door, key card no longer works for the New York Knicks. I understand the move. I just don't agree with it. Unless you're going to unless you've got your beat on somebody that's going to be, I want to say Phil Jackson-esque, I don't think there's another coach that can do more with that team. They can do things differently. Follow me now. They can do things differently with the Knicks. I believe Eastern Conference Finals, when the season started and people said the Knicks would tap out at the Eastern Conference Finals, I think most people would say that was a successful season.
Most Knicks have been good with that.
Yep. Yeah, so I understand the move. It was it feels like it was a emotional move, which grown men aren't supposed to move with emotion, but I don't agree with it. So unless you're bringing in someone of that ilk, I don't think it's a good move. What say you?
One of the rare times we're going to agree about things New York Knicks, because I agree 1,000%. I think getting rid of Tibbs was the wrong move for two reasons. Number one, Tibbs can't defend the pick and roll, okay? It's not his fault that Karl Anthony Towns got cooked in the pick and roll all game. I can't sit here and blame Tibbs for the fact that Jalen Brunson was getting cooked all series by Tyrese Haliburton, and minus one game in particular really couldn't lock up at all. I can't blame Tibbs that Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, supposed to be these 2, 3-and-D defensive stoppers, couldn't stop guys like Benedict Mathurin and Nebhart from going off on them and making them look crazy on national TV. So the point I'm making is players play, coaches coach. Could Tibbs have made some adjustments? He did. He took Cat out of the pick and roll, tried to let him sit down in the paint a little more. He still got cooked. He said, okay, we're going to focus less on defense and try to be more offensive, but that's not really his strength. So they were kind of adjusting on the fly. It was a lot more isolation, letting guys just kind of play. A lot less of the screen and roll, which had been a little bit more successful for them, because he was trying to adjust to the pace of the Pacers, which he couldn't do because they are just not, the Knicks are not a pace team. So do I think getting rid of him is a solution? No. That man made the Knicks relevant for the first time in 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. I mean, how far back do you want to go?
Consistently, too. Each season he's been there, they've been a formidable team. They had the
1 year. They had the 1 year below 500 due to injuries, but every other year they got better and better and better. I mean, they went from 47 to 50 to 51. Just kept winning, and to get 251 seasons in New York with the same team that had Amari Stoudemire, that had Carmelo Anthony, that couldn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you get them there. You give them the best coach they've had since Pat Riley, and you get rid of him. Like, there's nobody else that's out there where you're like, okay, I can see them getting rid of them for him. Like, Phil Jackson ain't coming out of retirement to coach that roster. So who's going to coach them that's going to get more than what they already got? Like you said, I think Eastern Conference Finals is a ceiling. If you'd have told the New York Knicks fan base before the season started, hey, y'all going to get to the ECF and really get into it for a chance to go to the finals, most people would have said, oh, we'll take that. Yeah, of course, every fan wants their team to go to the finals and win. But, like, it's all right to accept the fact that the Knicks had a good season. They just weren't good enough. And, I mean, listen, the Pacers are shocking the world and proving everybody wrong. And this is Tyrese Haliburton's coming out party.
The Pacers had the best player in the series. And I think for a lot of people, and we'll discuss Tyrese. We're going to do a whole segment on Tyrese. But going back to that comment, and I think a lot of people weren't prepared for that. But aside from having the best player in the series, I just want to throw this out there because my son mentions it. This is the second time Karl Anthony Towns has gotten Tom Thibodeau fired. Now, it wasn't directly because of him, but it was
his play got him fired.
Yeah, team. And I don't think Karl played that poorly. I think he had his moment. I think he played to what his skill set is, what his skill level is. I don't think
he had one really good game, and every other game it was kind of like,
but that's him. If he plays 4 games, that's him though. If he plays 4 games in a week, he's going to have one lights out game, and the other 2 are going to be good, and then one's going to be. That's his game. But that's why he's your second best player. And you would hope he would have been your third, and maybe Mikal would have been your 2. Your second best player. A lot of people talk about them not playing the bench. I think that's low-hanging fruit. I think the bigger issue was he failed to adjust offensively. He's shown that inability to do that going back to his time in Chicago, going back to his time in Minnesota with Andrew Wiggins. Obviously Derrick Rose was an MVP. The offense was centered around Derrick Rose. So by the time they got to Miami, he wore out. So their best bet is to hitch their wagon to a guy like Joe Mazzulla. And not Mazzulla, the coach, but Mazzulla, the resume. A young guy that comes out of nowhere, that's got some innovative ideas and got the ears of maybe one of your star players. Outside of that, you're not going to get better than Tom Thibodeau on that team, for that team. Like, Nick Nurse is great for the Sixers. He wouldn't fit in New York. I'm trying to think of another coach that would come to mind. Mark Jackson. doesn't fit that team. And I love
No, he's too old school.
It's
if they don't like
so
Tom Thibodeau, they'll hate Mark Jackson.
I don't know if you're going to be able to get Mikal Bridges to fit. And what does fit look like for Mikal Bridges? You talk about old school. When I see Mikal Bridges, not just because of his size, but because he's a guy that resembles this style of play, I think of Michael Cooper. That's the player I see Mikal Bridges as. That's his comp. Well, Cooper was a guy that got out and ran. He had a pass first point. You put Bridges, oddly enough, you put him in Indiana, he's probably an all-star. You know what I mean? Because he's running the wings with Tyrese Halliburton. He's running the wings.
Don't get the looks. With a pass first point guard.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much offensively that can be done with this team. Cat's a half-court player. Brunson's a half-court player. Bridges and Anunoby are not. They can play in the half-court, but that's not what's best suited for them. So, again, I understood the hiring. I just don't agree with it. I get the premise. I just don't agree with the conclusion. And now the Knicks are going to take a major step back. I don't believe there's no one that they're going to hire that's going to take this team to the next level. You know, they don't have the luxury of a generational talent like a Jason Tatum. They don't have that luxury of a team that has been to the finals, has been together for years, like Boston had. So they fired Ime and landed on their feet in Missoula. And even with that,
but that's an anomaly. That's a one.
And I was going to say, even with that, that's because Drew Holiday walked through that door. Like,
right,
you know.
Because if you go and you look at Popovich stepping down, the Spurs were still woefully bad. Like, coaches stepping down, getting fired midseason, and the other guy coming in, rarely does he come out and play well enough to get that team back to relevancy, let alone win a title. Like, Joe Mazzulla is the anomaly. He's the one-off. He's the one that you use as the example to say, hey, you can do this.
But you're not a championship team in New York. I don't think the Knicks underachieved. I actually think they landed about where they'd be.
That's fair.
I don't see that changing again. I don't see that. I don't see them. Put it this way. We can assume Embiid will be hurt again because he's always hurt. But I don't think the Sixers will be that bad. I don't think they'll be as bad as they've been this year. Boston will be without Tatum for the season. That's a fair assumption. So the Knicks by attrition will be better. But that doesn't mean that they're going to have the same level of success. Because you don't know where Drew Holiday is going to end up. You don't know where Giannis is going to end up. You don't know what the likelihood is with some of the other players in the Eastern Conference. So I just want to wrap this up with a bow. And I'll just say this. I don't think the Knicks made the right decision. I understand. I think we both agree with that. Well, before we wrap it up, let me ask you this question. It's just, do you think the Knicks overachieved or underachieved this year?
I think they overachieved. I mean, coming into the season, them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals means they would have had to either beat, because nobody had Indiana getting there, they would have had to either beat a Bucks team that had Giannis and Dame, or a Boston team that had, Tatum and Brown. And guess what? They didn't have to beat either of them, because the team they lost to beat both of them. And the one seed, they went the gauntlet. They took everybody in front of them, like Thanos with the finger snap. They didn't care who was in front of them. They just took them on up out of there.